I get really inspired every month when Altenew bring out their new Craft-a-flower. This month is the Peruvian Lily and it is a stunning layering die. I paired it with my acrylic paints to create a mixed media canvas and even used the acrylics with the flower. Hi, I'm Verity and welcome to my YouTube channel and blog Pretty Little Button, where I make paper crafting tutorials for the everyday crafter. So as I mentioned, this does feature the new Peruvian Lily Craft-a-flower. There is a blog hop and I will give some more details for that later on. So I have a square canvas here. This measures just under 8 inches by 8 inches and it is a primed canvas. So I'm adding some acrylic paint, so I'm adding white acrylic paint. So what I want to do is create sort of a halo look to the canvas, be lighter in the middle with darker colours around the outside. I'm then going in with some purples and some blues, so adding these dots around the edge. And if you're interested in the colours used, I will have these listed over on my blog. There will be a link in the description box below to the blog post. I'm using some grey just around the outside just to add a bit of darkness. Now I've been doing acrylic paints in my sort of spare time as a bit more of a hobby. And there was this technique that we kind of discovered from an artist where you do a stippling kind of effect with the colouring and the paints using a sort of stenciling brush. Now these are stenciling brushes from DIY stores here at the UK, that's B&Q. You can get specialty paintbrushes as well, so they cost a little bit more, but for the time being, because I'm not doing this all the time, these worked out reasonably good price. And this is a really great way of blending the colours. Now it looks quite messy to begin with, but as you build it up, it does start to blend quite well. I do use a lighter brush for the lighter areas, and then I try to keep that separate from the remaining colours just so that when it blends, your white area sort of maintains its lightness. I have several of these, and the really important thing is to try and not get your brush wet at this stage. Just use a dry brush whilst you're doing this, and you need to make sure you've got quite a lot of paint on there to ensure you get good coverage and that you're also going to get a blend between the colours. Once this is done, I'm then going to use a sponge that's ever so slightly damp, so I'll just put that in some water and then just wrung it out quite a bit. And then I'm just using this to really help smooth out that blend even more so. These are all techniques I've learnt from various different artists whilst watching YouTube. I'm no expert when it comes to acrylic paints, but I've just picked up these few tips, and if you think about it, they're similar things that we use in our card making as well. One of the other ways to then smooth it out is also dragging a dry brush over the top just to blend the colours, and then again going back in with that wet sponge to smooth all that blending out. And if you're watching this over on my YouTube channel, I have created a card that was inspired by this mixed media canvas. So if you're interested in seeing that card and how I created it, do head over to the blog and you'll see more information, pictures as well. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll also see Instagram reels. Now I decided that I really liked how it was turning out, but it wasn't quite dark enough for me. So I went in with some extra colour. I added some darker Payne's grey around the edge, and then went back in with the same technique of using the brush to blend it along with the sponge as well. And this just increased the intensity of the canvas, and it really focused on that bright light area in the middle, and that's what I wanted to use to highlight the florals. Before the canvas was set to dry, I wanted to add some paint splatters just to give the canvas a little bit more interest. So I used some white acrylic paint to create paint splatters. But then I also got out my Altenew watercolour metallic pan set and used some of the golds just to splatter some paint over the edge. So to actually create the acrylic elements to die cut from, I am using a piece of watercolour cardstock, or you can use any other heavyweight media cardstock to do this with. Now I did start placing some paint to one side and just dipping my brush in there and adding that to the cardstock. However, I wanted a very large area to die cut from because I wanted to die cut several lilies. So in the end, what I did was I just went in with the actual paint tube and applied it directly to the paper. So I'm using a variety of different pinks because I want to get some different shades within the actual cardstock, and this will give you some variation to your flowers. Now, again, I will list all the colours of these ink paints that have been used over on my blog, so do check out my blog if you're interested in knowing exactly the colours that I used. Now, I'm not keeping this neat. I'm not trying to get a perfect blend. I'm not making it smooth. I want some interest, I want some texture, and overlapping the colours like this is the perfect way to do this. Once it was complete, I set it to one side to dry, and then I also created another panel but with some yellow for some of the inners of the flower, and then also some green to die cut the leaves from as well, using the exact same method, just applying the paint directly to the paper, layering the colours up, allowing some of the colour to blend but allowing some to be quite stark just to give it a little bit more interest and texture. So once they were both complete, I made sure they were fully dry before I die cut them. I didn't want any of the wet paint to transfer onto my die. If it does, it wouldn't actually affect the die's ability to cut. I just wouldn't want it to transfer onto another die cut. So I'm just placing the Peruvian Lily die onto the cardstock, placing the various different layers of the floral on the pink, and then I also did the same with the yellow and the leaves and die cut from this. And I did this several times, and I ended up getting about 4 lilies die cut from this one panel. These are really, really easy to layer, and I use liquid adhesive to add them to each other, layer them up to give a bit of interest. As I said, the packaging does have a layering guide if you're unsure how these go together. They are really easy to follow. Because I had added different colours of the pinks on that painted panel, you're getting a bit of variation in your die cuts. So you get a little bit more interest, and it kind of gives you sort of the look that you expect when you look at your lilies. Yellow inners of the lilies that you expect to see, they are really easy to line up because of the holes. So you haven't got to worry that you're not going to be able to line those up. Now the full layer die cut is meant to be die cut out of black and sat on the back to pop through the holes through the flower. I didn't want to die cut the whole of that out of black because I didn't want to use that much card. Instead, I just added a few scraps to the back of it, and that worked really, really well. I also die cut the stamens from the yellow panel, and then the additional one, smaller stamens, I just did those in pink just to match the floral. And it's such an easy floral to align, it just looks stunning and beautiful. Once I'd got them all together, it was then time to assemble them onto the actual canvas. And I used varying depths of foam pads to add dimension to the layers and the flowers, just to position them at different heights and allow the leaves to pop in and out. And I really loved how this turned out. That pink colour absolutely pops on the purple background, and positioning over that white area, they then really resonate off the canvas. Now, as I mentioned, this is part of a blog hop with Altenew to celebrate their Craft-a-flower release, the Peruvian Lily. If you're watching this over on my YouTube channel, do make sure you check out my blog post. You need to head over to my blog to enter, you need to comment, and there will be a full blog hop list for you to hop along. As part of the blog hop and giveaway, Altenew have $200 worth in prizes to give away. They are giving at least 2 lucky winners 2 $50 gift cards, as well as $20 gift cards to another 5 winners. You need to leave a comment on each of the designers' blog posts and hop along before the 13th of June for your chance to win. Altenew are going to draw the 7 random winners left on each of the blog hop stops. To finish this canvas off, I just stamped and heat embossed a sentiment from the Altenew Blossom Wreath stamp set, and this just reads, "Beautiful inside and out," and I just thought that went really lovely with this floral design. I have created a card inspired by this mixed media canvas, so you can check that out over on my blog. If you're interested in any of the products used today, there are links in the description box below. And if you're new to my channel, why not think about subscribing and hitting that bell icon to be notified when the next video is up. Until next time, happy crafting!